So I'm Beatriz Rivera, and I am a young activist from Jamaica Plain. It all started, actually, I never even looked into activism. I didn't even know what social justice was when I first started my activism work. And I was titled as a young person targeted, a targeted youth who was never gonna make it out of nowhere, because I was involved with a hood, and I was involved with girl gangs, and I was involved with the struggle that you live every day. So people used to title me as a person that was targeted, who was in jeopardy of losing herself, losing her life. Until I met a young man by the name of Seth, who's been my mentor for years. And he started me off with recognizing who I was as a person. So at this point, a lot of things were happening at home. A lot of struggles I faced with my parents separating, as well as like my brothers being involved in the street life. Like we had to maintain our own and kind of like hold what we had at home. And I'm really seeing my mother struggle in trying to feed us and have food on the table for ourselves. That inspired me, and I used to question myself and saying like, what can I do and what role do I play, not only here at home, but like in my community, where I see people in the streets, people in the corner, where I'm a part of that family that's surrounded in that hood. So I always wanted to know what was my role there and what was my purpose, and that's always something that's been in the back of my head growing up as a young girl. I was more of a tomboy. I was rough. I was not very sensitive growing up with two boys in my household, and really being close to my dad. So when I lost, my parents separated and my dad left us for a while, that really forced me to be independent, and it kind of made me the woman who I am today. So I was known as a targeted young person. I didn't want to go to school because the first thing on my mind wasn't my math homework. It was, the next person that got shot down the street, or how do I get my mother from not being depressed in her room and helping her out with what she needs to pay in. So I didn't like school, and on top of that, I didn't like the education. The education that I was being taught wasn't about me. It wasn't of who I was, my ancestors. It wasn't about my people. It was more about the white man and what the white man did for us and who the white man was. So I felt like school systems in Boston public schools wasn't teaching me what I wanted to be taught. So this young man, Seth, he used to always give me these little packets of like Black Panther Party, the Young Lords, Lolita, and what she did for our people. And I used to educate myself through that. So I would skip school, but I'll still pick up that book that Seth left. I'll still pick up that packet that Seth gave me, and I would read it. And I really started to educate myself. And as I was educating myself, I always kept that inside and never really shared it with anybody, of the knowledge that I was really gaining through these readings. And not only through the readings, but I got to put words to my struggles. I got to put titles to my struggles of who I was actually living, what I was living, and I connected with these social activists, and I connected with the Black Panther, and I connected with the Young Lords, which really inspired me to like look at my life and what direction I was going in. So then I started these programs, these youth organizations, and I really was getting involved in like becoming a leader and growing in my leadership skills and growing as a young woman, a young Latina woman at that, in this world that we live in. And I would say my jump off, kickoff was being in a leadership team of United Youth and Youth Workers of Boston, where that was when all youth organizations and the murder rates was that high. They came together, all these youth organizations, and we had a leadership team, and I was chosen to be in that leadership team. And to me, that was something that was like, it was a humbling experience, because to be chosen from like thousands of young people and people who were fighting for this change, and to be chosen as only for 10 people, that was something big for me. And I think that we maintained that campaign of youth jobs and youth opportunities and fighting for that. That I came to the point where it kind of almost felt hopeless when you work with city officials and state representatives, and even the mayor at that. The system is so set up that it's really hard to work with them, coming from a point of view that you go through the struggle. So it's hard to work with them and actually get what young people need nowadays. So we took it upon our own hands, 10 of us, in the summer of '04. And we really decided, like, you know, we feel hopeless. What can we do? How can we already tried working with the city officials to get this money or to get these opportunities or to get this help that we need in our streets. Because now we're losing people on a daily basis. And this is not like, you know, this person that I knew. No, this was like brothers and sisters getting killed, murdered. This was like people in your own neighborhood that you grew up with, your own family. You're losing them through these things. And it wasn't only to violence, but it was through drugs. It was through, you know, fighting. It was through other different social issues that we faced. So we took it upon our own hands, 10 of us, co-founders, and we started our program called Beantown Society, which I currently direct as I serve as the director, and I got promoted there. But I started as a young person. I started as a youth staff here at Beantown Society, and we named it a By Youth for Youth program to serve the inner cities and urban communities of Boston. And what we do here is we try to unite race, class, culture, and neighborhood, and we try to end youth violence. And we do that by really reaching into like the neglection young people feel, the oppression they feel, the rejection they feel in society. They kind of feel powerless, and we try to change that over to youth empowerment. So this is a By Youth for Youth program. It serves for youth and it's run by young people. We've been doing it, this is our 6th year now. So I've been here from the start. When I started college as a young activist, and I still struggle with this today, it's like, do I go to classes or do I go to that rally that's about to pop off? You know what I'm saying? And that really, it plays a lot in my life. I kind of like, what is my purpose? And I think like being a Christian young woman, I think God keeps my foundation of like where I'm supposed to be. And I know that I'm supposed to have both of them. I know that I'm supposed to get educated because I'm trying to work inside out. So if I really want to get these social issues across to people, if I really want to get those voices that have been fighting for years of the struggle of activism, for years have been going on, you know what I'm saying? From back in the day, from Martin Luther King, from Malcolm X, from all these people, if I really want to bring that inside to the inside, I need to go to college. That's the way that society has set up for me to do. But I will never lose the fact that I learned from the streets, and I learned from these people who fight for justice, and I learned from all this, but I still bring it into play. And so my goal right now as a young person is, I'm in college not because I want to be, and not because it's the way to go, it's the American dream to go to college and to have that white picket fence with the house and the dog and the husband. It's not because of that. I think it's running more because of my passion. So I'm in college right now for social and political systems. And soon one day I do want to be a state representative. I do want to be a city councilor. Because and something that really made me want to set my goal up for that, I think it would be when I see these white men in tuxedos and they're deciding for me or for my people what they need, when they don't even live the life that we live. You know what I'm saying? How is it possible for a man who doesn't live the struggle that we live can determine and decide what we need in society? And that's what really like is motivating me till today to really be like, I need to be that state representative. I need to be that city councilor, because there needs to be a voice from the streets inside that state house. There needs to be a voice from the streets inside that city hall chamber, making those decisions for young people, making those decisions for people in general. There needs to be real people. It needs to be real people that go through the struggle in order to make that change. So I think that's the main key and the motivation that I go through. But I never forget that the experiences that I learned from being a Christian young woman, being invested in a church, and being invested with social justice movements, and then on top of that going to college. It's a lot for me as a young person, but I think it's what drives me, and I think that that's why I'm here. I'm here for a purpose. I'm here to share that purpose with people and really play that role.
Told y'all it's artistic, peak also till we see the light.